Yes, sir. You know you never seen a podcast this good for this long.
You already know. I'm a chill today. I'm not going to...
No, I about to say.
Big ignorant. You better believe it. Let's get it going. Episode 4, we back in business. Let's go. Come on, man.
It's What More Can We Say, the
Yes,
podcast
sir.
where we talk to the culture and the culture talks back. I go by the name of Radio God Stu, and to the left of me is...
It's Jalen back in the building again. I got to think of some other kind of cool... It's actually kind of rolling off the tongue. I got to think of something cool. Like, it's just Jalen, you know what I'm saying? Or some shit like that, but keep going, my bad.
But, you know, episode 4, we back, you know what I'm saying? Had a great episode 3. People were hitting us up crazy about my Drake take.
You were tripping.
I got a lot of backlash from my Drake take.
Listen, y'all, I'm trying to work with Stu. Y'all work with me. I'm working with Stu. We're going to get on the same page with some of this shit eventually. Just give us a minute. But
I'm still just going to be hating the light-skinned boy, but it's okay.
It happens every now and then, but let's kick us off for this episode. We're not going to do the last one.
He's up and down the Billboard charts.
Brother, here we go.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So he gets a little hate. But speaking of the Billboard charts, I need to hate on the Billboard charts real quick for my damn self.
What were they thinking?
Yes, they put out a list of the 75 biggest
greatest singers of all time.
Yes, R&B artists.
Yeah.
And that list had more holes in it
And then Swiss cheese.
Swiss cheese.
Yeah. So the criteria for this real quick before you get into actual people was, so they went by vocal prowess, body of work, career longevity, industry achievements, game-changing influence, and enduring generational/cultural impact. Now let's talk about who's on this list. All right, this is crazy.
All right, number one. I mean, and this is no disrespect to anybody, because a lot of these artists are super talented. They're legends. They're icons. They're greats. I think they got the order mixed up a little bit, and then some people just shouldn't have been on the list to begin with.
We can start picking around it, because I was thinking that same thing when I'm looking, bro. Like, first off,
number one. Let's start with number one.
Okay.
Number one, they gave it to Stevie Wonder. Icon.
Yeah.
Great.
For
you
sure.
know what I'm saying? Like, Stevie Wonder's one of the greatest of all times, hands down. But I don't know if I could put him above my number one, Michael Jackson.
My number one, honestly, will probably be Marvin Gaye.
And I can't argue that.
Yeah.
But from an entertainer standpoint, and where you're talking about impact, not just on music, but the world.
For sure.
Michael Jackson had Black or White.
Yeah, no,
you know
there's nobody like Mike.
You didn't know if you were black or white listening to Michael Jackson. He healed the world. He man in the mirror.
No, that was real.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, he tackled, you know what I'm saying, worldly, you know what I'm saying,
issues and everything. Yeah.
So it's just like, bro. And the man did a concert in Bucharest. I swear to God, if I put a map in front of you right now, you couldn't point to where the hell Bucharest is.
I mean, honestly,
and
if you put a map of the U.S. in front of me, I was bad at geography, but that's another story for another time.
There was 1 million people outside, and the man just stood on the stage for like 10 minutes, just standing there.
People passing out.
And people were passing out.
Yeah. I seen him even when he did the Super Bowl. He had a similar effect when he did the Super Bowl.
Where
he just jumps out from under the stage, and it's like he just stands there for like 5-10 minutes and just take.
And people lose their mind. They lose their goddamn mind when they see Michael Jackson. So it's like, how can you put anything or anybody above that?
Well, to that point, I think they had Beyonce at 4. Now listen, we talked about this on episode 1, I believe it was, when we were doing like the tour review. So I'm not here to disrespect Beyonce, but because the impact is undeniable, but I've never listened to her. And again, when you put in I don't care what this criteria says, when the list is labeled best R&B singers of all time, nobody's thinking about album achievements and this and that third. Like, one of the first things people are going to think about when you're talking about the placing of some people is going to be their vocal ability. And it's pretty much going in there for a lot of people, because I know it's kind of a new age thing to more so talk about like streams and numbers and stuff like that. Nobody who really listens to music for real and is outside and really enjoys music on a different level has ever once referenced streams or numbers or anything to justify, you know, their support or lack thereof for an artist. So I don't agree with that. But just kind of taking a look at this here, like I said, vocal ability is like one of the first things that pops out to me. And so when I'm looking at
Beyonce
this,
can sing now. I don't.
She
hope
can,
you're not
but-
go. I hope you're not getting into the Beyonce can't sing,
she can, but Marvin Gaye on this list was 10.
and that's why
Beyonce is not a better singer than Marvin Gaye.
No.
Sorry to break it to anybody who's listening. That's a fact of the matter. And it's funny because I had to get a little bit more into Marvin Gaye, actually like a couple years ago. Because, I'm 30. So we didn't come up. Yeah, come on, So we didn't, but I didn't come up with Marvin Gaye. So I really had to go back and start doing my research and finding out who he was, his music. Like, bro was the real deal.
it was him.
Nah, for real. And I think the craziest thing, and I highly recommend anybody who's never listened to Marvin Gaye extensively to please do yourself a huge favor. To me, one thing that separates him from a lot of these dudes is like, bro, there's no auto-tune on that.
No,
Nothing.
nothing.
He's straight vocals and he's raw. And a lot of his lyrics, the vocal inflections, the emotion behind it is something that you could just feel off the rip. So Marvin Gaye is really one of them. And I think it's interesting because you don't get a whole generation or decades of artists without, his impact on everything. So for him to be at 10, I wasn't really feeling that. And I'm not trying to dump on Beyonce, but Beyonce ain't no better singer than Marvin Gaye. That's a fact.
She's not a better singer than Whitney.
She
ain't a better singer than Anita Baker to me.
Yeah.
And if you're going to put Beyonce that high, then, you know what I'm saying, you also got to put somebody higher on the list that pioneered the way for Beyonce, like a Diana Ross. You know what I'm saying? They had Diana Ross low down on the list. I'm like, like, what's really good? And then you had, like, Luther Vandross at 22. So I'm sorry. I don't give no Fs.
Yeah.
Listen, there's not a better male singer vocally than Luther Vandross. I love Marvin Gaye. He'd probably be my number 2.
Okay.
And Teddy Pendergrass. They had Teddy Pendergrass low on the list.
Al Green needed to be up there. Yeah.
They
didn't even have Charlie Wilson on the list.
Charlie Wilson's not on the list.
Come on, bro.
Like, it was disrespectful. They disrespected a lot of people.
I didn't like Let me try to go through here and just take a look here because I want to take.
I know one person off rip that they disrespected.
Yeah.
My OG.
Talk about
They disrespected my OG.
They did. They went on him, bro.
Bad. I think it was number 66.
Yeah, and you talking about, so they had Keith Sweat at 66.
Keith Sweat at number 66. If you're talking about impact, you're talking about longevity, you're talking about, transforming the game. My man had hits in the 80s, the 90s, and the 2000s. He wrote records for your Drew Hills, your Silks, your Cut Close, your Escapes,
Immature.
the Isley Brothers, Immature. Like, my man Penn was super guy. He wrote Just Got Paid for Johnny Kemp. Like, my man Penn game was immaculate. But it's like, bro, like, the man had hits after hit after hit. And to this day, he still remains relevant.
Fact. Shout out to Key Glock. He said Key Glock got a record out right now called No Sweat that's going crazy. And it's doing a super creative flip of Nobody.
Yeah. But it's like he's one of the most sampled R&B artists. After like James Brown and stuff, like Keith Sweat and Isley Brothers, like Keith Sweat is one of the most sampled artists. Yeah. And on top of that, he's the most referred to singer in hip hop. It's not a
Drake said he's the light-skinned version of that nigga.
Listen, all rappers reference Keith Sweat in their rhymes some way, somehow. You don't hear nobody, referencing a lot of other singers, but everybody, A$AP Rocky got a Keith Sweat bar, Grand Poobah got a Keith Sweat bar, Craig Mack got a Keith Sweat bar. Like everybody got Keith Sweat bars. You know what I'm saying? So it's like that goes to show the impact that he has had on the game and music. You know what I'm saying? And so for him to be 66 below people, honestly, that open up for him when they're on the same bill.
Heavy.
It's crazy. You know what I'm saying? I love Tevin Campbell. He only got one song. He opens up for Keith.
Come on,
you know what I'm saying? I love Music Soul Child. Music Soul Child was super dope. He shouldn't be above Keith Sweat.
Talk to him.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I don't know who wrote this list. I don't know if Chat GPT or who wrote this list, but
start checking sources on niggas.
What I'm saying? Yeah. And this ain't the defend Keith Sweat podcast. But when I seen that, it was just like, a little personal side of me.
I feel that, especially because too, he's still, and still doing festivals, all that stuff. Like, bro, is still moving and shaking. So I'm not trying to pick, but I'm just looking around. Like, SZA is at 44. Okay. Now let me say this: SZA is talented. There's no doubt about that.
And she's good to look at.
That don't hurt. But when you're talking about vocal prowess, she can sing, but would I put her as one of the best voices I've heard? No.
No.
Does her album, at this point in time, she has very good albums. Would I say that any of those albums are certified classics at this point in time? I think a little bit more time will probably want to pass. But album achievements, I can understand, I guess, from a streaming perspective, but it just feels like a little bit more recency bias with somebody like that. I feel like somebody like SZA would need to earn a couple more stripes before she gets on this list. Especially, like I said, with no Charlie Wilson.
Summer Walker definitely needs
that. Was crazy.
That was crazy.
That's the thing too, is like when you make some of these 75 greatest lists and stuff like that, I don't feel like it should be coming from a place of feeling like you just gotta slot 75 people. If that's not what you got, bro, then you don't need to do it, because then it creates this thing where people, now granted, everybody's gonna always have an opinion, but you can really start poking holes through this because you're looking at some of the artists and you're like, and to your point, like you said with Keith, like there's so many other artists on this list that have not had nearly the longevity as far as the career goes. Some of it feels a little bit more like recency bias. Like, will we look, and no disrespect, but I'm just wondering, will we look at SZA 20, 30 years from now and she'll still be, I won't say very relevant, but will she just still be relevant in this space? That's another thing. I feel like some of these artists for today might not even all the way be invested to where they want to have a long career in that fashion.
Right.
Some of them want to do music and then get out.
They want to get out. They want to do something else.
Right. Yeah. So there's different avenues. So that's the thing where I'm kind of looking at this stuff. I love Frank Ocean as an artist. He's great. 37?
That's way too high.
I mean, I just don't feel like the body of work has supported that. Now he has, Nostalgia Orchard, the mixtape, Channel Orange, the album is great. Blonde as an album is pretty good.
Ain't none of them better than Make It Last Forever.
That's a fact, though. I ain't gonna lie. So
ain't none of them better than Make It Last Forever.
I just don't really understand what the voting process was behind this, because I see the criteria, but again, like I said, it's just not really making sense to me. So I don't know. Shout out to Billboard, not shout out to Billboard, but they had put that list out, so I recommend everybody take a look at that when you get a chance. Let us know in the comments, like, subscribe, do it, all that stuff. Let us know who y'all think should have been out there on the list, rearranging things, how you kind of see fit, all that good stuff.
Because I would have put Kiki Wyatt and Deborah Cox on that list as far as singing R&B.
Kiki Wyatt is cold, too. She's super cold, so I'm surprised that she wasn't even on there.
Right.
Yeah, so. But anyways, let me transition from Billboard, okay? And I still want to stick on music for a second. Shout out to the Clipse. Okay. Pusha T and Malice are back. They're super back. Okay. They've dropped 2 singles so far, Ace Trumpets and So Be It. They're both crazy records, dog. I'm not going to lie. Like, so Push has already been somebody that's been in my catalog for a minute. Malice, I didn't get into hip hop. When I got into hip hop, it was probably around like Till the Casket Drops, which I believe was the last Clipse album that came out before the one they're getting ready to drop. And that came out in 2009. So I was a freshman in high school around that time. So
damn,
I'm still,
and you late,
a little bit, but I'm still in that space where I'm looking through artists and I'm kind of learning about different stuff. And so I had heard about Clipse, like you hear about like I heard the records like Popular Demand, I'm Good with Pharrell. Like I heard some of that stuff. It was their more recent stuff at that time, but I never got a chance to go through their catalog. And so when they started dropping music again, because I've been on Push for a minute since he's been doing his solo stuff, but when I heard Clipse was getting back together and I heard that Ace Trumpets record, I was like, oh my God, bro. Pharrell put his foot in that motherfucker for real. You could, the toenails up in the beat still. I mean, that nigga is going crazy. Like, Push is rapping his ass off. One thing I do want to highlight, though, is his brother Malice is back now. He took kind of a little hiatus doing his religious thing for a second.
I was about to say.
He's back in the fold.
Back in the streets now?
He's delivering straight belt on these records. I ain't going to lie. He's giving niggas belt. And Pharrell is whipping ass, too, on these beats. So they got their project coming out July 11th, and I am more than looking forward to it, especially when I'm looking through my phone recently. And there's not a lot of album of the year contenders right now. It feels like it's kind of been a slow. I don't feel
like the body of works are being put out like that.
Yeah, it's been a slow year for music. And talking about the last episode, I wish Carter 6 would have been a little bit better, because that was where my expectations were to kind of kick things off. But it feels like Clipse might be the ones to really kick off the rap album of the year discussion. And so I'm looking forward to them going. They dropped July 11th. 2 singles so far have been really good. I highly recommend everybody get a chance to check that out when they get a chance, because that is moving crazy. That was actually one of the newer records this week, so be it along with some other stuff I was listening to.
So as far as subject matter on,
Yeah.
on the singles? Is it still like street cocaine rap that we've known to come to love the Clipse for, or have they like, you know, switched it up and did something different?
They always gonna chop a brick, so you gotta know that.
All right. I just want to make sure.
A brick will get chopped.
I just want to make sure.
But at the same point in time, I do think Push has really been stepping his pen game up recently to me. But Malice, I think, has really welcomed himself back into the culture in a way that I didn't anticipate, bro. Like it just feels like instead of him kind of waiting on the introduction back in, bro, it's just like, oh, fuck that. I'm mashing it. I'm just going off. And so the last 2 verses he's dropped have been super crazy to me. And I just don't know, I guess, kind of like what the direction is with some of this stuff, because I guess to kind of briefly go over this, people haven't been liking that Push has been shooting at, not shooting, but he's been dissing Travis Scott and Kanye on these last 2 records.
So he ain't like working with Kanye.
People feel like it's biting the hand that feeds you. And so it's interesting to me watching this rollout, because I do think some of it has kind of been focused on some of the beefs, but that to me is Push, bro. That's just his energy. He's always been or in the last couple of years, he's wanted to be the villain in rap and wanted to be, you know what I'm saying, outside of the Drake stuff. And so, I don't like that people are highlighting just that, because I think the records are super, super hard. Like, they're talking about having kids now, you know? They got a record called Birds Don't Cry that I heard get previewed, where they're talking about the passing of their parents. So there's a maturity in the content that we're looking for. Like you said with Wayne, where you kind of want to see an evolution with your audience. Right. They are taking that step, that next step to me, and they're putting together songs that aren't just straight, you know, I'm in the kitchen whipping this, so on and so forth. Like that's going to be there. But they are taking that mature step forward, and I think that we're going to get a different angle here. So I think that this right now is the early contender for Rap Album of the Year.
Okay, dope. Well, you know who else dropped new music?
Talk to me.
Back Outside.
Oh boy, I don't know. You like
the homie Cardi B?
Okay,
she's back outside.
Yeah.
You know, she's moved on from her marriage to Offset.
Yeah, she dropped that single called Outside yesterday, a couple days before, whatever the case may be.
And I mean, it's pretty much just detailing her being back outside.
Yeah.
Where most people expected her to be.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So it sounds like you're a little disappointed with the record.
I mean, it's cool. I mean, it's something that, you know, the YBs is gonna like. The YBs, they gonna eat it up. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And they're, I'm so happy for sis.
Yeah.
You know, the girly girls. Yeah. Like they're gonna love it. They're gonna eat it up. You know what I'm saying? But it's also kind of like, like, what's next after this? It didn't move you? You know what I'm saying? It really didn't. Yeah, it wasn't like, you know what I'm saying, something that I'm gonna be riding around listening to, you know, so.
And that's the thing, like, I will say it's interesting, because while we're obviously not Cardi's demographic, she has made records before that niggas could ride around to.
For
and
sure.
Yeah, so.
For sure.
This single to me was very lukewarm, because I kind of felt like she's now getting into a space of like I said, she's trying to come back outside, but it's interesting when you get this current era that we're in with like a Pluto or a Glorilla or a Sexy Red. Those chicks are so authentic to self, and it's not to say Cardi isn't, but it hits a little bit different when Sexy Red say she outside versus Cardi, because Cardi's achieved a certain level of fame at this point, notoriety. She ain't at the same spots that she, you know what I'm saying? Her
outside is courtside at the Knicks game with Stephon Diggs.
Yeah, or out on the mega yacht. You know what I'm saying? Doing a big look. So the song itself sounds okay, but there's a part of it to me. And again, obviously, you know, women will speak louder than us on what they think about the record. But when I'm listening to it, it just doesn't feel like something that felt true to her. It more so kind of felt like one of those label looks, or one of those looks where somebody on her team kind of goes, oh, you got to have a record for the summer. You know what I'm saying? And so I feel like she's naturally done that before, as opposed to this one feeling a little bit more manufactured and formulaic.
Oh, it's definitely manufactured.
Yeah, and it feels a little bit more formulaic to kind of be like, oh, well, this is going to be on TikTok, and you know the girls be outside and so on and so forth, and kind of trying to use those terms that'll you know, those hot buzzwords or whatever the case may be to get more traction behind the single. So I didn't love it, but I will say what I do like is that hopefully this will be the beginning, or hopefully this will be the single to the long-awaited album, because it's been like what 4 or 5 years since she dropped her first project.
She dropped one album and got the hell on, and it's just been a verse here, a feature here, a single there, and that's really just been her formula. I mean, it's worked for her, you know, and it also leads me to believe that, you know, all this, you know, outside and public appearances she was doing with Stephon Diggs, all of that was just like promo
rollout
to set up. That was just rollout stuff to set up, you know what I'm saying, her dropping the single. So, you know, I mean, once again, you gotta market how you market, promote how you promote, you know, get it to the consumers however you can get it to them. I ain't mad at that, but it also it doesn't feel really authentic. You know what I'm saying? And it doesn't feel like, you know, something that was organic. It just feels like, okay, that's what we go. It feels more like PR and promoting than it does feel like culture, and, you know, like we was for her, we were for the champion, right? You know what I'm saying, for the culture, Cardi. Now it just seems like, okay, I just got to do everything. You can put this on your story.
Yeah, you can put this on your story, or you can put this on the notes, or so on and so forth. And so I want something that's a little bit more true to her, and she has that energy, bro. She's dropped smashes before, but the biggest thing for her is just gonna do something that's a little bit more authentic to you. There's nothing wrong with giving us a record, obviously not no 444, but, you know, a record that kind of shows us where she is in her life outside of relationships, or outside of trying to be quote unquote back outside. She got mad kids. Like, somebody would like to hear about that. You feel me? Like, there's more to her life than just shaking ass and being on the gram. So I would like to believe that in the span of time since she dropped her album, because I don't even think she had kids when she dropped her last album.
No.
So much has changed for her, from fame to life to relationships. So I would like to hear her get a little bit more into the entirety of her life, and not give us just club records.
And one thing I hope this doesn't turn into a war of records between her and Offset. I think that would be a very, very bad look. Because at the end of the day, that was your husband, that was your wife. Y'all do have kids. You know what I'm saying? There is family involved. So the war of words and the subliminals and the you know, the dissing and all that type of stuff. You know what I'm saying? Okay, we get it. The marriage didn't work. You know, whatever transgressions happened in y'all relationship, y'all keep that between y'all as much as y'all can. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And move on, and just show your kids and your family that you can move on and still be healthy parents, have healthy relationships, and still raise children. I think that would be more of a powerful message for them than to show, yo, who's more lit now that they're out of the relationship. You know what I'm saying? And who got the baddest bitch, or who got the baddest nigga, who got more money, you know what I'm saying? Who's living better? Like, really, we don't really want to see that shit. We want to see, you know what I'm saying, something that's more positive and something that's more, you know, family oriented between them two than just, you know, being back outside.
And I feel bad low-key for the kids, gang, because it's like, when you get to a place where you're in a relationship, bro, that stuff is going to live on the internet forever. So, and I would like to believe that cooler heads will prevail at some point in time, and they'll be cooler longer than they won't be cool. You know what I mean? And so when you kind of do that stuff and you putting the kids in the middle, I just think it creates this whole messy situation. And to your point, it also kind of ruins both of their momentum with music, because I did think the same thing. Like, Offset dropped a single the same day that Cardi's single came out. And so I can't accuse one person of trying to follow the other, but at the same point in time, it kind of puts a damper on both of their waves when everything is so public as far as the relationship adversity. Then when they start dropping records, even if this turned out to be just a complete coincidence, which I highly doubt, but if it turned out to be a complete coincidence, it's still going to create this whole controversy behind the records. And it almost kind of stomps on both of them, bro. Like, I guess the outside one is kind of trying to play into that narrative a little bit. But the Offset record, I know he was kind of doing like some light stuff that people kind of thought might have been jabbing at Stephon Diggs. But even with him, bro, like, Offset is dope. But when you drop this, even with this record, even that I heard now, I'm hoping it's not trying to go at Cardi, because he was rapping, the beat was hard, everything was cool. I wasn't really a fan of the hook, and I did like Jid being on the record, Atlanta Connection. So I think that the record sounds good, and it sounded better than the Cardi record to me. But like I said, when you kind of have this dark cloud hanging over both of them of this whole relationship stuff, it's kind of tough to discern what's what and really listen to the music for what it is. Because again, I'm a nigga, bro. I'm not here trying to listen to your relationship problems. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you get into that in the span of an album, that's cool. But I'm not here to listen to y'all just go back and forth dissing each other. Like, this is not Kendrick Drake.
Yeah, if I wanted to know about your relationship, I would tell y'all to go cast on Love Island
Oh my God! This
Go join the cast of Love Island.
Now you got to put me on. I've been seeing on Twitter, bro. This show,
oh my
you would
God,
almost think it's the first reality show ever created because people are on this shit hot. I've seen clips and I've heard some of the names circulated around, but I haven't gotten a chance to watch it extensively. Put me on the game, please.
I mean, basically, it's just a dating game show where people are like on this island and they're trying to find love, trying to find a connection. And I don't know how you could find love and a connection, and then at the end you win $100,000.
Like the money is the money.
Love and money just don't mix. You know what I'm saying? But somehow they're trying to make it happen. You know what I'm saying? And people are like falling in love, hooking up. You know what I'm saying? Arguing. You know what I'm saying? Just typical shit that you would see on a reality dating show. And they got all the women on the timeline in a motherfucking chokehold.
Yeah.
Everybody is like, who to this and who to that and who to this and da-da-da. And I'd be like, yo, who the hell are these people? What's going on? I got to check it out so I could be in the know.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because it just seems like this is what the conversation of the summer as far as, TV series go. So, you know what I'm saying? We got to catch up on our Love Island. I need to find me a shorty to watch Love Island. Shorty, any shorty out there? You know what I'm saying? You want to come through, have TV night, watch Love Island with me? Yeah. Slide in the DMs. I'm with it.
Have you ever had an investment, not in reality shows, but would you ever go on a reality show?
Yeah, I would. I thought about, going on Big Brother. I always watch Big Brother.
Yeah.
And every year I'd be like, I'm going to sign up. And I did sign up one year, but like I was supposed to do like some interview or something. And I got I was like, man, hell no.
Nigga got cold feet. He was like, I'm good on that.
I ain't doing it. But I wish I did.
Yeah.
Because that season, when I watched it, it was a chick on there, Chelsea Bayham. Chelsea.
Holler at your
Chelsea.
boy. Holler at your boy. Listen, for sure.
I definitely like Chelsea. And guess what? She ended up winning too. Okay, you know what I'm saying? So I was like, yo, that might have been the season for me to go on there. I might have found love in the Big Brother house. Right. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But as far as like a dating show, I don't know if I would necessarily go on a dating show. Because I feel like I would have to compromise too much in order to, you know what I'm saying, of who I really am in order to like fit the TV narrative of, make it good TV and me trying to find love. It's like, nigga, this shit ain't made for TV.
See, I'm a goofy because I'm a hopeless romantic type nigga. So I feel like I'll go on that show and be like, yeah, I'm about to be out there chilling, man. I'm about to be doing X, Y, and Z and da 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 da. And it's like the one time a shorty starts showing me traction and shit. I'm like, I thought this show was just a reality show.
He's jumping off the deep end, y'all.
I thought it was just a reality show. I'm like, I'm really falling for shorty. So I mean, like for me, when I was younger, I wanted to be on like a Real World or something like that. I thought I would have been crazy entertaining, but then I don't know. As I kind of got older, I was thinking too, like, damn, like, to the internet point that I was just saying, I'm like, this will live on forever. So I'm not trying to be on camera simping for shorty. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to be no big simp. And then 10 years later, it's like, those are the clips that will continue to live on. And anytime somebody sees you in public, it's like, oh, yo, you do it from da-da-da.
Oh, my God,
and you was doing such and such and such and such. And you can't escape that.
Bro, I was approached, by someone that I was talking to.
Okay.
About going on a TV show that they star on.
Okay.
That films in Atlanta. That rhymes with drip drop.
Go ahead. I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
And I mean, our connection and our relationship, it was authentic.
Yeah.
But it was just like, and how we were, how it was phrased to me, it was like, okay, I can see that, but I can't do it because then I'm going to forever be looked at as that. You know what I'm saying?
An accessory like, almost.
I want my narrative to be my narrative. I don't want it to be a narrative that
somebody can craft.
Somebody, you know what I'm saying? And then I have to fall under your umbrella of that. You know what I'm saying? And so just to save even the resemblance of friendship, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'll be like, nah, I don't want to do that.
Exactly.
I'm cool. Like, nah, I'm cool. Like, you know what I'm saying? And I don't need the clout. I don't need the fame. I don't need the popularity. I'm cool. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, I've been approached to do TV and do dating and all that stuff.
That might have been on your local VH1 channel.
Yeah, I would have been on BT, VH1, whatever one
it
shows.
For sure.
Nah.
Yeah. I don't know. the era that we're currently living in now with this investment in people's personal lives is so fascinating to me.
Right.
It's not to say that I haven't ever been in that situation where I'm going through people's stuff and I'm kind of looking for so on and so forth. I mean, and even me, like, came up in the Jersey Shore era and stuff like that. So so reality TV was popping. I'm not trying to dump on it, but trying to get on there today, it just feels like, I mean, granted, I have kind of heard some of these people's names outside of the show, so it seems like the fame is working, but trying to be on camera, like falling in love, to your point, just kind of seems like a dead mission. I can't really envision myself doing nothing like that.
Yeah. If I'm going to be on TV, I'm going to be on TV for the right reasons. And I might have to go holla at somebody because I know that they got a TV studio in Atlanta. They might be hiring soon.
Yeah, but for the wrong price. Nigga. Yeah, it might be for the wrong price. You talking about that Tyler Perry shit?
I'm talking about Tyler Perry,
oh,
bro.
Man.
Oh, my God. They coming for Tyler, y'all. They are coming for... Yo, why not coming for Tyler now?
Yeah, nah, listen.
Like, y'all cannot just keep going after... mogul after mogul after mogul, bro. It just looks like a cash grab every single time.
I know a couple niggas was happy about that though. Like, for black men specifically, there's always been this narrative that Tyler Perry has been doing us filthy. So I saw a couple niggas on the timeline that were just like damn near throwing a party. Like, I knew this nigga was freaky. I knew we about to get him out of here. So it's crazy to see. Like I said, like some people will kind of try to take the wait and see approach versus it feels like with this specifically, it was almost like just proof of concept. And people were kind of like, see, I knew this nigga was wild. Like, so, right. And it kind of just fit whatever narrative had already kind of been floating around about him.
Yeah. I mean, people been, rumoring and talking and tabloids been tabloiding forever about, you his sexual preference and, how he do this and do that.
Who he spend his time with and all. Yeah.
And honestly, I don't care. You know what I'm saying? Just make good content. You know what I'm saying? When you talk about people that work with him as well, you know what I'm saying? A lot of them are like, yo, I didn't get paid what I was supposed to get paid until I worked with Tyler Perry. You know what I'm saying? So those are the stories that like I enjoy hearing about Tyler Perry. Now, whether this sexual assault, sexual misconduct, really took place, I don't know. I wasn't there. You know what I'm saying? So you really won't know until all the evidence and stuff is put out there. You know what I'm saying? But
those text messages were crazy though.
I mean, they were, but like they were. I didn't really like find them like that egregious.
I feel like this, right? When I think the guy's name is Derek Dixon or something to that effect. Okay, so to me, and we talked about this with the power dynamic. Were the text messages super crazy? No. But when you take into account that this is your boss talking about, like one of the pictures I saw, bro, where he sent dude a picture of him on a jet ski or something, and the guy replies back and he's like, "Oh, that's an awesome picture." And then Tyler Perry get all sassy. He's like, "Awesome picture. You ain't gonna talk about the stud. You ain't gonna talk about the stud out here." And I'm just like, see, so to me, it's like regular flirting or whatever is like, okay, yeah, cool. But think about it from the perspective of this is my boss trying to holler at me. You know what I'm saying? And it creates just this whole weird dynamic, bro. Like,
I mean,
go ahead.
It just feels like, you got to know when to draw the line between, okay, what's sexual misconduct and what's just shooting your shot. You can't sit here and be like, yo, I ain't never sent no girl no wild text message before. You know what I'm saying? Of course, we all done hit send on something that, you know what I'm saying, you thought twice about before you said it, but you was like, man, fuck that, nigga, I'm finna send this shit anyway.
But here's the difference, though. I'm gonna tell you this, though. For real, I'm being dead ass. We live in the screenshot era now, so I'm gonna be very clear.
Careful.
There's girls for sure that have had me simping, doing all like saying crazy stuff online for sure. But
I keep it
me
playing.
Also knowing it's that screenshot era, I'm only saying but so much. Right. So I'm never gonna jump out the window. Like no chick's ever gonna post nothing and be like, unless it was just super out of context. But you can't never post no text of me talking about Jalen was wilding out and Jalen was saying this to me and that. I'm super respectful every time, hands up like this, because I understand the era that we live in and how things could be taken out of context. And so for me, I'm always trying to make, comfortable environments and all that, even from communication to being in person and stuff like that. So that's why I can't even understand how bro's giving up. He giving it up sick. And you Tyler Perry, my nigga, you got bread. Like,
you got stupid bread.
And that's where I be thinking sometimes some of these niggas be off in the head, because what would make you want to grab on niggas and talk to niggas all certain kind of ways and kind of try to, you know what I'm saying? You force it by. There's plenty of niggas we're in Atlanta. There's plenty of niggas in Atlanta
that want you to grab on them.
It ain't gotta be, bro. So that's where I'm feeling like, I'm like, damn, dog, you tripping. Like, I don't like
you
all
can
that.
really be out here having your way with
do what you do,
saying?
but I mean, let's keep it within the bounds of who actually is on that type of time. So, but I will be fair, and I don't want to paint with a broad brush or send them off to the shadow realm right now. The rest of the details from this will come out. We've only heard the Derek Dixon, the actor side. We haven't seen anything from Tyler Perry. I'm more than willing to assume that he'll have some variation of evidence on his side, proof, text messages, whatever the case may be.
Right. Because some of those text messages looked edited.
Yeah, and that's the thing, right? So, and I don't know bro's sexual preference, so that's number one. But let's assume he's straight. If I'm straight, and you texting me that, the conversation is already over.
It's dead.
The conversation is over.
It's dead.
So already from that aspect, I can't agree.
Bro,
where
what
I'm
the fuck
like,
you
some
on,
of this,
bro?
yeah, some of this look a little bit kind of crazy, but overall to me, I think I don't know. I don't want to say nothing too crazy, but I will just say this in general. Tyler Perry needs to watch himself. This is flying straight into a narrative, and he can't control this. Maybe can't. But this is going straight into a narrative that everybody wants. So just know public perception is not on his side. I'll be interested to see how the rest of this case develops.
$260 million worth. That's how it's going to develop.
We can't even get super into it now because we got to get ready to wrap up. But you saw Fat Joe even got a lawsuit that just came out recently, $20 million.
I'm not paying attention to that.
I'm not paying. Wait, let me just give context.
That's just so egregious.
Let me give context. Now they're saying, and this is just the reports we have now on this one, we haven't seen nearly as many developments. We've just seen the lawsuit headline. Fat Joe is being sued for $20 million by a former employee who alleges he saw him engaging in plural thousands of sex acts with plural minors like 14, 15. This is what is being alleged. I'm going to wait to see again because we don't want to be too thirsty to be first on this. You don't want to say nothing crazy and look goofy later. You stand on what you want to stand on, but wait, I'm going to wait on the details before I kind of say anything. But I will say for me, I love Fat Joe. Legend in the game.
Joey Crack.
For sure. And until, I will say the same way we're talking about Tyler Perry, until I start seeing hard proof evidence from one side or the other, I can't really say who's doing what. The headline looks crazy.
I'm going to stand on business for my nigga Crack, man. It's egregious. It's former employees that, have a vendetta, have a grudge, they have some resentment. You know what I'm saying? And they're looking for, any little inkling of them being able to get some money or make somebody look bad or, you know what I'm saying?
Just to come up.
That's some bullshit. If you know Joe and you know his character, that ain't even something that you would even entertain longer than fucking 0.2 seconds. Bro.
I was surprised to even see the headline, so I do agree with you. Like, I'm a big Fat Joe guy, and we'll wait to see. Last thing, though, here, and we're about to wrap this up. When I was driving up here earlier, and I was trying to kind of get on the highway or whatever, I ended up having to take the residential roads because they've been shutting shit down with these ICE protests.
Oh, shit, nigga. ICE is out.
Yeah, I know. I wish we could spend more time, but tell me, have you been seeing what's been going on?
Yo, nigga, I live not too far from like where they had the protesting and stuff on Beaver Highway. Nigga, it's real.
Yeah.
Like, it's super real.
It is unfortunate that this is happening in general because when I think of this whole thing kind of like in a pyramid to some extent, bro, everybody is at the bottom of the totem pole trying to get back up in some form or fashion. So any type of discrimination, hatred, bigotry, all that shit is out for me. I've never been on that. So when I'm looking at these ICE raids and everything like that shit is low-key heartbreaking because to your point, I know mad people who just came over here illegally or not, whatever. Niggas be contributing to the country and niggas be, and I don't think that being born here directly means that you should, automatically be entitled to just wanting to have everybody get out of the country because you don't believe that they quote unquote came here the right way or that they're doing X, Y, and Z and they're doing bad and so on and so forth. That shit is out. So I'm thinking of praying for, hoping that this process can get resolved in some form or fashion because this whole kicking down doors, raiding is not it. Yeah, no, I know. It's going to keep going on.
It's going to keep going on.
Yeah, for sure.
It's going to keep going on. And it's almost like Bro, the only thing that we can do to neutralize what he got going on is to get back out and vote. Like now y'all understand the importance of fucking voting, bro. It's not a joke. It's not a game. Y'all got to get out here and vote. The midterm elections are going to be coming up next year.
For sure.
You know, so that's going to be our opportunity. And then, you know, whatever this country is going to look like for the next 25, 30 years in the next presidential election, you know, we really got to get out and we really got to mobilize and we really got to do the work in order to, you know, make sure that the right people are put in place and put in power, because as we're learning, the right person is not put in power right now.
Absolutely. I mean, even for me too, like I was big into trying to look into voting, and I was telling all my homies too, it don't have to just be the state or not statewide, nationwide elections. Bro, voting affects your city officials, everything around you. So it doesn't necessarily have to be tied into, oh, well, I don't like the president, so I'm not going to vote, period. That's just a dumb mentality. Yeah,
that's ignorant.
And the things that will affect you in the long term after that will be affected by you not choosing to vote at all. So exercise that power, get research, look into who you need to look into, especially when it comes to your local officials.
Absolutely.
If you do whatever you want on a nationwide level, but your local officials will affect your day-to-day life. And so it's important to just be educated and know who's supposed to be representing you in your community.
Absolutely. You know who's representing us?
Who this?
They are!
Yes, sir! Talk to me. Wrap this up for me.
Hey, man, you know what it is? It's the What More Can We Say podcast.
Yes, sir.
You know, we are always looking forward to your engagement, your likes, your comments. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you share it with a friend. Tell a friend. Tell a friend.
Absolutely.
Tell your uncle, tell your cousin, tell your sister, baby cousin-in-law, Tracy, to make sure that she subscribe to the podcast. This is where we talk to the culture and the culture talks back. I go by the name Radio God Stu, and to the left of me is...
That brother had to check his hands real quick.
Yeah, I had to check.
Right, I left him. It's Jalen back. You already know. So I will catch y'all later. _ Jalen Brown, and then you at Radio God Stu.
At Radio God Stu, and at What More Can We Say?
Episode 5 on the way.